We're being overrun by Mexicans. It's a common refrain from the anti-immigrant right in the United States. Of course, it's laced not only with xenophobia, but it also appears to be flatly untrue. This is what I mean. A study that was just recently published by the Pew Research Center says that more Mexicans are leaving the United States than coming into the United States. This is a reversal of a huge immigration trend. Why are so many Mexicans going back to Mexico? Well, it seems to be a combination of a desire to reunite with family, combined with a not particularly thrilling economic recovery in the United States, at least with regard to wages and in certain sectors. Pew Research Center found that slightly more than 1 million Mexicans and their families, including their American-born children, left the U.S. to go to Mexico from 2009 to 2014. During that same time, 870,000 Mexicans came into the U.S. This is a net outflow to Mexico of Mexicans of around 130,000 individuals. This runs completely counter, Lewis, to the narrative of this out-of-control border where it's just Mexicans coming in and leeching off of services and taking all of our jobs. Actually, the 5-year period from '09 to 14 saw an outflow of nearly 150,000 Mexicans. Not really the story we're getting from the Republicans, is it?
And a lot of Republicans aren't aware that many of the people coming over the border, it's not all just Mexicans, right? I mean, you have people from Central America, South America, but as far as many GOPers are concerned, anything south of Texas is just Mexico.
That's right. So we don't want to get confused also because of the if it's south of the U.S., it's Mexico mentality. You might be confused. We are still seeing an increase in the number, in the percentage of the U.S. population that is Hispanic, right? As a percentage of the total U.S. population, the Hispanic population is increasing. This is happening as a result of population growth of Hispanics already in the U.S., childbearing, etc., and immigration from other Central and South American countries. But with regard to the specific Mexico talking points and hypotheses, it's just not true. And there's this broader misunderstanding, which is there's this talking point among the right, the so-called patriot movement, that everyone wants to come and live in the United States. Well, many people do want to come and live in the United States, but most don't. There is actually a world survey from Gallup done just a few years ago, which shows that 150 million out of the world's then 7 billion people would like to move to the U.S. That's 2.14%. 2.14% of the world would like to come to the U.S. Now, 150 million people is still almost half the population of the United States. So in the aggregate, it is many, many people. But the idea that anyone given the chance would just love to come here, it's not true. And if you go to Europe, Lewis, and you talk to people, people love living in Europe. You might not think they do because you don't have the same type of American patriotism with the flag waving and the July 4th and the whole thing. But people really like where they live in on much of this planet.
They do. Yeah, they're very happy, prosperous, great countries. The people that want to leave their countries, yes, perhaps they want to come to the U.S. I'm sure they'd be equally thrilled to go to any number of European countries.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think the polls are asking those questions, though.
Last thought on this. In addition to the fact that only 2.14% of the world population would like to move to the U.S., a study from just a few months ago tells us that 35% of U.S.-born and current citizens would consider leaving the U.S. to go to another country. In fact, more than half of those 18 to 34 in the U.S. right now would consider leaving the U.S. and living somewhere else altogether. So this is not nearly as cut and dry as the right would have you think, which is everyone wants to come to the U.S. and it's a flood from Mexico and nobody wants to leave. Inform yourself a little bit. This is a big planet.
Yeah, let me add to that I think it's really healthy to live somewhere else for a while, because I think it can. I have never done it. I just haven't had the chance or the opportunity. But it's good to learn about other countries, other parts of the world, put things in perspective.
It sounds very anti-American what you're saying, Lewis.
Dave, it's all about knowledge and learning and experience, and it's a good thing, I assure you.
Thank you. Is Lewis wrong about having knowledge and experiences being good? You can let him know on Twitter. He's on Twitter at Lewis Motamedi. I'm on Twitter at Pakman, and we are all together on Facebook at facebook.com/David Pakman Show. After the break, yesterday, I was almost in a very ugly altercation at a local post office, and it all has to do with patriotism. I'll tell you the story next.